All right. Welcome everyone to a very first ever show that I'm doing on this channel. Hopefully, it'll be lasting long. Obviously, I'm repping a Rayo Vallecano kit for today's first stream because obviously that's the first La Liga game back. But let me introduce you guys to a new show I am doing on this channel. I call it El Toro, which means the bull in Spanish. It's a La Liga show talking all things Spanish football, primarily La Liga, but we're not just going to focus on Barcelona, Real Madrid, and Atletico Madrid because there's other YouTube channels that talk about it. But we'll discuss more about the other teams heading into the La Liga season. Now, obviously, let me first get it out of the way. This is a show I intend to maybe have it last for about an hour at most. Around an hour, I'll be honest. So yeah, get you guys' comments in the live chat, obviously, and as well as there is a poll on the chat right now. So I don't know if anyone's going to do the poll, but the poll is which I'll do for every show, is which La Liga match should I do a watch along for on this YouTube channel? If there's no votes, then I'm picking the one that I want to watch. There's Rayo Vallecano against Celta Vigo. There's Sevilla versus Valencia and Espanyol against Leganés. So not a super huge, massive, gigantic club or whatever. And all those sort of things. But yeah, as I said, please do hit the like button on the stream, subscribe to the channel, vote in the poll, so we will get started. And how we're going to do this show is we are going to first talk about whatever games have just recently took place. But we'll first start off with the Supercopa de España, which happened yesterday, and there's a game in about a couple hours from now. But let's quickly discuss, because I'm not going to discuss too much about the Supercopa de España, because it's not really super relevant to the show. I know there's a potential we get an El Clasico final, but for now, let's talk about the game from yesterday just very briefly. Obviously, there are different YouTube channels that go a lot more in depth with this. But we had Barcelona beating Athletic Club de Bilbao by 2-0. And I'll be honest, right? Barcelona probably had a good amount of chances. If you guys are looking at the stats, I think overall, Barcelona did deserve the win today. But Athletic Club a couple times scored, but had their goals offside, so it didn't count in the end for Athletic Club. So I think overall, very good win. I mean, Lamine Yamal, really great player. Obviously, won the Youth Player Award at the Euros, at the European Championships last year. So, and it's also his first goal since October, I believe. So that's a great way for Yamal, and in a way, Barcelona to start the year at least with a win, making it into the final of the Supercopa de España, beating Athletic Club in the semis. The other game, which happens in about a couple hours from now, is Real Madrid against Mallorca. And I'll be completely honest, I think Real Madrid are going to wipe the floor of this Mallorca team. This Mallorca team recently lost 3-0 to Pontevedra, a 4th division Spanish club in the cup competitions, in the Copa del Rey, actually. So, yeah, I do not really see Mallorca doing much in this one. I know probably they bring a much more stronger team to this game, but I do think that the quality overall will shine through for Real Madrid, and we'll get an El Clasico Supercopa de España, which we might talk about in next week's show, which happens every Thursday at this time, 6 p.m. Spanish time, and you can just adjust to whatever time zone you guys are at. Now let's actually get into what I want to really discuss, which is La Liga. So we'll just bring up each game, but before we do, we will talk about the table, or actually, I think we can do the table combined with each of the games. So first game, if I could properly zoom in. I don't know. Come on, zoom in, mate. Okay. So tomorrow, Friday, 9 p.m. Spanish time. It is the first of the genuine actual return of La Liga. We have Rayo Vallecano against Celta Vigo in a very big clash. I'll be honest, because both these clubs, Rayo Vallecano. Obviously, I'm repping the shirt. I actually been to both stadiums. Didn't go to a Vallecano game, but I do have, I believe, a friend of mine that's going to this game. So shout out to him. In my opinion, right, both of these clubs have been a bit topsy-turvy this season. I mean, both clubs managed to get a draw against, the big two, Barcelona and Madrid. Obviously, Rayo Vallecano got a 3-3 draw against Real Madrid at home. Celta Vigo got 2-2 draw at home to Barcelona. Great comeback by them. And even when you look at the win probability given by Google, Vallecano just a slight edge, but I call it's the most even matchup of La Liga so far in this sort of match that I would probably believe. And believe it or not, both of these clubs are next to each other, which makes it even more close. Celta Vigo are 11th in La Liga and Rayo Vallecano are 12th in La Liga. So, look, I'll be honest, right? I think it's a very important game for both clubs. I know Rayo Vallecano didn't win the past 3 games. They got 3 draws. That included that 3-all draw against Real Madrid. But I'll be honest, right? I know Celta Vigo have been a little bit more of an exciting team, but obviously as a Deportivo La Coruña fan, like an actual fan, obviously I want Celta Vigo to lose every game. But yeah, I'll be honest, right? Rayo Vallecano, I think can actually get the win in this game. Probably by like a single goal margin, like a 1-0, 2-1 type of scoreline. But they've done really well, even though they've gotten draws so far this season in La Liga. So in my honest opinion, I can see it being like a 2-1. I'm feeling a 2-1 win for Rayo Vallecano, probably with the home advantage. I just think that they will come at least decently good. Rayo Vallecano, the lower the definition of a lower mid-table team in La Liga, and it's the same thing with Celta Vigo. Obviously, Celta Vigo started the season really well, and Rayo Vallecano had some very impressive results. They got a win away at Sociedad, if I remember correctly. They obviously got that 3-all draw at home last month against Real Madrid. So, look, I think both of these clubs can actually do something in terms of winning this game. I think a draw you would probably back, but I'll go with the slight edge to Rayo Vallecano to get the win. So I'm going to predict a 2-1 win. But it is a game I'm interested in watching. If you guys obviously vote in the poll, you guys can decide that for me. Next up is this game between Alavés and Girona. I say Girona. I know people say Girona, but I say Girona. But Alavés against Girona. Now, both of these sides, I would say, are consistently inconsistent, especially Girona. I mean, if you look, it's the same thing with what we just talked about between Vallecano and Celta. Both these clubs are quite even though, look, Girona in 8th place, and we have to go all the way down to 16th for Alavés, who are just a couple points above the relegation zone Alavés. So I'll be honest, right? I think it's a big game for Alavés, especially when they're playing at home. And I'll be honest, Girona aren't that amazing, considering what they did last season when they finished in the top 4. I think I did say at the start of the season, in a few shows and watch-alongs I was with, that I do not think that Girona will get European football. We do get our first chat, The Alchemist. Hi, big up. Let me know your thoughts and your opinions in the live chat as well, The Alchemist. And obviously vote in the poll, which game should I do a watch-along for? But yeah, going back to this game, Girona against away at Alavés. Look, Alavés not in great form. They obviously got 4 draws, so they didn't lose, but they don't really win games. Whereas Girona, they do. So, in my personal opinion, right, I do think that a team like Girona can actually turn up in this game, but I wouldn't be surprised if we get a draw as well. Um, so let me look. Let me know your guys' thoughts because honestly, right? We'll talk about the La Liga table and how, like, if you're just looking at it right now, it is very, very close. And obviously, big up to Brandon. Love the Rayo shirt. Yeah, it's last season's shirt I bought at the club shop in Vallecas, which is in Madrid. Very small, very, very small club shop. But yeah, as I said, do let me know your thoughts and your opinions, and obviously vote in the poll. Which game should I do a watch along for? This La Liga weekend. As I said, I'm not going to do a Supercopa final if it is a El Clasico. Like there's 1 trillion YouTube channels and videos and live streams on that game. Like I'm just going to be one of the 1 million of it. But yeah, I'll be honest. So I can see this game being a draw just because Alavés past 4 games got a draw. Obviously, it's a new start to this season. This is, I believe, Alavés' first game of the year because they were, I believe, knocked out of the Copa del Rey already before the previous round. So yes, it's not been a great season for Alavés. I will go with a draw. I'll I could see it be. Honestly, I can see it being a stinking draw, like a 0-0. I feel like Alavés and Girona. I just feel like both of these sides, especially Alavés, are going to really make sure that they don't concede because they aren't that great defensively. I mean, if you look at the league table, they conceded 30 goals already, which is one of the worst defenses. They actually have, I believe, the second joint worst defense after Valladolid, I believe. Yeah, so Alavés not great defensively. So I'll be honest. I know I'm saying they could get a clean sheet, so maybe it could be a 1-1. But I really do not see this Alavés team getting a win. If I'll be completely honest, so I'll go with a draw, a 1-1 draw. I think that'll be my final prediction. Alavés Girona 1-1. That would be my score prediction for this game. Next up, on obviously the game we talked about, Alavés Girona, was at 2 o'clock. This is at 4:15 on Saturday. It is bottom of the table, Valladolid, Real Valladolid against Real Betis. I'll be honest, right? Valladolid this season are terrible. They are terrible. Like, I'll be honest, right? It is very, 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 very. They are really bad, Valladolid. Like, if you just look at this win probability ratio, I mean, Betis more than at least half of 100, 51% chance of winning against Valladolid. Defensively, Valladolid, as I said, have the worst defense. They conceded 37 goals already this season. So they're really not that good. 1 win in the last 5. Coincidentally, that 1 win was against Valencia, believe it or not. But yeah, Valladolid this season just they're so terrible, man. They're not bad to watch because they're comically bad. That it's okay to watch them. Like they will get smashed. Like if you guys remember the 7-0 against Barcelona like a few months ago, earlier in this season. But I'll be honest, right? Betis hasn't really been that great this season. They've been really inconsistent. 1 win in the last 5, but they are a lot further in the Copa del Rey competition. But I could see Betis getting a win in this game. I just feel like Valladolid defensively are really, really bad. Brandon here says Valladolid at this point have become a yo-yo club, like a Spanish Sheffield. Yeah, they're basically like a Sheffield United. Especially there's a lot of protests regarding the ownership of Valladolid. Coincidentally, if anyone knows, guess who owns Real Valladolid, the team that's bottom of La Liga? You wouldn't believe it, but it is R9. The great Ronaldo Nazario is one of the owners of Valladolid, and they are protesting. Yeah, so really not a great season. And I'll be honest, right? I do not see where the next win is for Valladolid. Maybe if they play against a worse team than Betis, but I do not Betis bottling it. I'll be honest. I can see it being like a 3-1. Yeah, Brandon, as I also mentioned, online, Ronaldo Nazario is one of the owners of Valladolid, and they're protesting, obviously because of how bad their season has been so far. I'll go with a 3-1 win for Betis. I think Betis will get it in the bag. I think they'll get the win. And maybe the second half of the season, believe it or not, we'll talk about Atletico Madrid when we get to that game. But Betis are actually the only club that has beaten Atletico. Oh, actually, the only team, I believe, or the only team to have beaten Atletico Madrid in Spanish football domestically this season, if you look at the table as well. So I'm saying a 3-1 win for Real Betis against Valladolid. And I do think that Betis can pick up. I think they're one of the teams that I can still see picking up, points, even though they've been inconsistent. Next up, we have, this is actually a 6-pointer. We have Espanyol, not Espanyol, Espanyol against Leganés, a team that I previously went. Espanyol, obviously based in the region of Catalonia, Barcelona. Big rivals with Barcelona. But Leganés and Espanyol are in the relegation battle. We'll talk about the win probability, but if you look down in the table, right, this is where it is right now. Leganés are 15th, Espanyol or 18th, which they basically are in the relegation zone. But Espanyol only 3 points behind Leganés, which basically means that, a win for Espanyol, especially a home game against Leganés, is very crucial. Obviously, the main player I would say is Juan Prado. He scored a hat-trick a lot earlier in the season, but he is practically Espanyol's main source of goals. Whereas Leganés, look, they have players like Sebastian Haller and the goalkeeper Dimitrievski, which if I'm not sure, if I'm not mistaken, will play for Valencia, but we'll talk about Valencia in a bit. But yeah, I do think that Espanyol can actually get a win, even though they haven't won in the last 4 games. But I just feel like this Espanyol team, I know they're in the relegation zone right now and haven't been that fantastic overall. And if you look at the win percentage, Espanyol are quite, favored in this matchup. Obviously, maybe because they're at home, but I think Espanyol actually can get goals at home. They're not that great away from home, Espanyol, but at home, Espanyol can get results. I'll be honest with you guys. I genuinely, I can see Espanyol getting a win here. I genuinely do. 3 points behind Leganés. If they win, same number of points as Leganés, really, really puts a lot of pressure on the teams below them to get results. So I am actually backing for an Espanyol win. I could even see it by like a win to nil, like a 1-0, 2-0 sort of result. I'll go with a big 2-0 win for Espanyol, actually. I think Juan Prado could get a goal in this game. Who I think is obviously, as I said, the main source of goals. So I'm actually going to predict that Espanyol will win against Leganés and really, really put a lot of pressure in that relegation battle. So I think that'll be this is a big game, big 6-pointer for both sides. And I think Espanyol will get the quality that will see them through. Speaking of relegation battles, look, Sevilla aren't really in a relegation battle, but the other team definitely are. It is Sevilla against Valencia on Saturday night, 9 p.m. Spanish time. If anyone, like, even without looking at the La Liga table, like if let's say you don't have any knowledge of what's happening in La Liga this entire season, like let's say if you lived under a rock, where would you think Valencia would be finishing in La Liga if you had no idea about Valencia? Like you're like a complete tourist, like you had no idea about Valencia, but you just know Valencia is a big city in Spain and all that. I think most people will probably say, oh, they're like a low, like an upper mid-table club, like 8th, 9th, 10th, which is where they finished last season. Guess where Valencia are now? Guess where they are now? They are Valencia. Look, they're not, obviously they're not first, second, third, fourth, fifth, no. Sixth, no. Seventh, eighth, ninth, 10th? No, they're not even top 10. Are they 11th? No. 12th? No. 13th? No. Oh, there's Sevilla in 14th. Not great. 15th? No. 16th? Wait, what? 17th? No. Not even 18th. No, they are practically joint bottom with fucking Real Valladolid. Valencia, as Brandon says here. I was used to seeing Valencia back in the days competing for La Liga. It's sad their downfall. Yeah. Look, I'll be honest, right? If anyone doesn't know much about Valencia's situation, I don't want to say COVID times kind of affected them, but I'm going to be honest, guys. Valencia are fucked. They are truly fucked. Not in terms of the football they play. Like actually, Valencia games are quite exciting to watch. Probably as a neutral. But if you're a Valencia fan, it's depressing. Even though you score goals, like Valencia, right? They score 17 goals. Not terrible, but not great as well. That's less than 1 goal a game. But Valencia, their owner Peter Lim, I would say is the worst. There should be a competition between the bottom two, Valencia and Valladolid, who has the worst owners, Ronaldo Nazario of Valladolid or Peter Lim of Valencia. But the only thing is with Valladolid is that they got relegated a couple of seasons ago from La Liga, and then they got back up to La Liga easily because they do not. I wouldn't say they don't overspend Valladolid, but they at least, get things sorted for themselves, whereby they are prepped to be a Segunda team. But Valencia, they've been in La Liga since 1987. 1987, they've been in La Liga. Since then, they've won at least one La Liga in 2004. They've been to a couple of Champions League finals if I have to remember correctly, in 2001 and 2002, if I'm not mistaken. You guys can correct me on it. But look where Valencia are. They are in a relegation battle. And I'll be honest, right? I know people say, oh, Valencia are too big to go down. But I've been in a couple of shows, right, with people, and I talk to people that do follow Spanish football, like La Liga football on YouTube and whatever. And I tell them, like, I think back in September when Valencia were back practically in a relegation battle, and they still are, back in September and October, right, I said, Valencia, I think they get relegated. As Brandon says, funny fact is that Valencia owner, before being an owner, he wanted to buy Liverpool. I mean, imagine if he owned Liverpool. Who knows? Maybe Liverpool could have been in this sort of position. Peter Lim is not a great owner. He is like, I don't know if he's as worse as Mike Ashley, obviously as a Newcastle fan, but yeah, look, Valencia are in real deep shit. They are in real big trouble, Valencia. And I'll be honest, right? I worry for them. I think they can do, unfortunately, a Deportivo La Coruña. I think if Valencia was to go down, I do not see a way where they jump back up. I genuinely do. I don't really see Valencia staying up or going back up to La Liga in the first attempt. Because if you don't do that, right? If you don't go back to La Liga in your first attempt or two, you're stuck. You're stuck. Like there's teams like Racing Club de Santander, there's Real Zaragoza, obviously Deportivo La Coruña. There's Ibor nowadays, Elche. These clubs that have been in La Liga, but then once they drop, they don't come back up that easily after 1 or 2 seasons. Because obviously the 3 teams that came back to La Liga this season are Espanyol and Valladolid, who just stayed in the Segunda for one season, and Leganés, who were only in the Segunda for 2 seasons. So, yeah, I mean, Valencia, I think they are fucked. And obviously, for Sevilla, they're not great themselves as well. But the thing with Sevilla is that they are not in a big crisis. If you want to compare between Valencia and Sevilla, Sevilla aren't in a super crisis, but if they don't get the act together, Sevilla, they could be a really, really just lower mid-table team, Sevilla. But it's like this is a battle of good becoming shit, basically. Basically meaning that both these teams on paper, right? If you had no idea about Spanish football or what's happening with them right now, with both of these teams, you think this is like a battle for the European places in Spain. But this is maybe not so much so for Sevilla, but for Valencia, it's a battle to stay up. And I'll be honest, right? I know Sevilla aren't that amazing at home, but I'll be honest. Here's another thing I forgot to mention. If you look at the league table, right, Valencia has only won two games. I don't know if you guys can see 2 games all season. Two. Let me remind you, 2. The team that's below them, Valladolid, won 3. They've won 1 more than Valencia at this stage in the season. And guess what? One of Valladolid's wins were against. It was against Valencia. That was the most recent win as well. The one you can see for Valladolid. Valencia haven't won a game since returning after the unfortunate disaster that happened in the community of Valencia a few months ago and back in October, I believe, where they beat Betis at home, I believe, 4-2 win over Betis. That was one of their 2 wins. Like, Valencia this season are in real deep shit. I'll be honest. And they played this past Friday against Real Madrid. They lost 2-1, last-minute goal by Jude Bellingham. We'll talk about it. But Valencia this season, mates, I think they get relegated. If just for context, if you guys want to know who I think will get relegated, like at the early start of the season, I would say Getafe, Valencia, and Valladolid. I think those 3 will go down from La Liga. And this game away at Sevilla does not help. I'll be honest. I think if it was at home, I can see Valencia beating Sevilla if it was in the Mestalla. But because it's at the Juan Sanchez Pizjuan in Sevilla, I think Sevilla wins. I can see it being another 2-1 a loss for Valencia. So I'm going with a 2-1 win for Sevilla. I think Sevilla gets the win here. Unfortunately for Valencia, I genuinely am worried about Valencia's situation in La Liga. We might not even preview them as much if by doing the show next season. But moving on, we have, I'll be honest, right? On Sunday at 2:00, we have Las Palmas against Getafe. I'm going to say this right now, this stinks. This is a stinking game. I know Las Palmas have been in a great run of form. They've won 3 of the last 4 games. But mates, if you know anything about Getafe this season, right? I know it says it slightly favors Las Palmas, which I think they will win. Look at Getafe this season. They are basically in a relegation battle. They're 1 point above above Espanyol. They've scored 11 goals. They scored 11 goals. 11. Let me remind you, 11 in 18 games. Mates, they are so fucking boring to watch. Like, I will be honest, right? They are really, really, really boring. Like, Jesus Christ. Like, they makes 11 goals all season. That, like, for me as a stat, that is crazy. And you know what's even crazier? They've only scored 2 open goal, I think 2 or 3 open play goals this whole season. The rest have been either like penalties or set pieces, like basically like that. Makes they are so boring to watch. I'm just sending a link to a couple of people. Just let me send that. Makes, as I said, Getafe are so, like, I want to reiterate to every single person, if you suffer, like if you cannot go to sleep, just watch 3 consecutive games of Getafe this season. Mates, they are so boring to watch. Let me show you guys the results. I know Getafe won 2 of the last 5, right? But let me show you, right? This is a special segment. Getafe are boring as shit. They are so fucking boring. Right? It's unbelievably fucking. They're worse than Everton, if you want to say Premier League. They're at least Southampton, right, in the Premier League, are exciting to watch. Even Valladolid, who have been very shit as well this season, or at least there's some excitement when they lose. Getafe, look at their fucking results, right? Let me just zoom in. Even in the Copa del Rey against Segunda team Granada, 1-0 win. Okay, that's 1 goal. Let's go all the way back to the start of November then, right? So, Copa del Rey, 1 goal, great. They lost 1-0. Okay. Only 1-0 loss again to Atletico Madrid. So they still only scored 1 goal since December 9th. That's the 2nd goal against Espanyol, coincidentally. They had to take it to penalties against fucking Orejuela. I don't even know what fucking tier they're in. They're definitely not 3rd tier, so they're definitely lower than 4th tier or below in Spanish football. Scoring no goals. They scored no goals against Real Madrid. Oh, look, they actually won. They've actually scored 3 goals, which is unbelievable in their first round of the Copa. But if we want to get rid of the Copa results, they've only scored 1 goal since the start of December, which was a win against Espanyol. And then, oh, look, they got a win against Valladolid. Okay, 3 goals. November 22. November 10th, a 1-0 loss. November 4th, a 1-0 loss. Mate, since the start of November in La Liga, out of the they've only scored 3 goals. 3 fucking goals. Let me remind you, they've scored only 3 goals here, Getafe. They are so fucking boring. Their games aren't that exciting. I will be fucking honest with you. Getafe are boring as shit. And this is why I just think, I'll be honest, right? This screams a 0-0 or 1-0 win for Las Palmas. Maybe a 2-0 for Las Palmas. It's almost like a fucking miracle to see Getafe score a goal in La Liga. It's like something to cherish. Like, Getafe are so fucking boring. So I'll be honest, right? Not much of a preview on this, apart from Getafe being so fucking boring to watch. Las Palmas, at least. Las Palmas started the season terribly. Let me remind you, they were worse, Las Palmas, before they sacked their manager. And they brought in a new manager, and look at the results. Their first win, Las Palmas, this season was away at, coincidentally, Valencia. But even that's 6 wins under their new manager. And they only, since what, 9 games, around 9 games, if I'm not mistaken, with the new manager, and they've won 6 of those. Las Palmas, and believe it or not, Las Palmas also beat Barcelona. I'll be honest, it's not really a surprise that Las Palmas have actually really, really improved this, in the middle half onwards so far this season. So I could just see Las Palmas getting a win, 1-0 win. I'll be honest. I'll be honest, guys. Do not watch this. I'll just watch the highlights, and those highlights will probably just last 30 seconds, which is just the goal from Las Palmas. Because I'll be honest, this is why I'm not even putting it up there in the live poll, which you guys can vote. of La Liga games you could be watching. Because mates, this is a fucking boring game to look forward to. So it's not even a game to look forward to. I'll be honest. Las Palmas 1-0 win, easy. I really really do not think they're that good. Las Palmas got 2 more games of this upcoming weekend before we get on to the next segment of the show. We have Atletico Madrid, the team that is being hyped up and doing well so far this season, especially since end of October, November roughly, and since then picking up practically wins every single game. They are hosting Osasuna, and I'll be honest, right? Osasuna aren't terrible themselves, but Osasuna, I will be honest with you guys. If you guys really want to know who is the true definition of mid-table in the entire past few years of La Liga, it's Osasuna from Pamplona. Osasuna, I believe it or not, guys, they are. They're not boring. They're not boring. They're actually quite fun to watch. If you are a Prem merchant, I call Osasuna like Crystal Palace, where there's actually some ballers in their team. Budimir, trying to remember the other fucking guy. Jesus, I always forget the names, man. But Osasuna, right? They haven't won in the past 5 games, and they go away at Atletico Madrid. Not great for Osasuna. I'll be honest, I could see whiplash, like a huge win for Atleti. Look at Atleti. The only loss this season was against Betis, but they've won 5 in a row, which is the best form of the last 5 games. They've won 5 in a row, which is really, really impressive. Plus 21 goal difference. They have, I believe, the best defense in La Liga as well. 12 goals conceded only. They only lost 1 game. Look at Barcelona, who was hyped up 5 games they've lost. So Atleti, I think, will take advantage of the fact that Real Madrid and Barca are not playing this weekend in terms of like La Liga is concerned. Obviously, they're likely to play in the Supercopa should Madrid beat Mallorca. I could see this being like a 3-0 Atleti. I do not really see how Osasuna can even get a draw. And even the win probability, 3/4 would say that Atletico Madrid will win, which I think will be the result, especially at home, because Atletico Madrid are very, very good at home and Wanda Metropolitano. For Osasuna, they're not terrible, but I do not see them getting a win against Atleti. And the final game, Monday Night Football. Monday night, is it Raw? Monday Night Raw. We have Real Sociedad against Villarreal. For me, this is quite an interesting match. I know I didn't put it in the live poll in terms of like games you guys should make me watch. But I'll be honest, right? This is a pretty decent game to look forward to. I say it's quite even. I know Sociedad, they're 49%. Like, I don't trust this sort of rating. I think this is a lot more even than what Google is saying. I'll be honest. Look at the league table. There's only 5 points separating Villarreal and Real Sociedad. And I'll be honest, Real Sociedad at home, apart from like a couple games, they actually are not that good at home, Sociedad. So if you want to back an away win, I think Villarreal can beat Sociedad. I know if you look at defensively, like Sociedad only conceded 13 all season. Villarreal, who are above them, have conceded 30. But like almost a third of it was between Barcelona and Real Madrid. So Villarreal, I'll be honest, they are my definition so far this season of a fun team to watch. They are exciting. Villarreal, just as a neutral standpoint, I think they are really, really fun to watch. The reason why I'm not picking it as a game I could be doing a watch along for is because I can't really do Monday Night Football, unfortunately. But obviously, when there's a chance and you guys vote for it, then great, fantastic. But yeah, in terms of this game, right? I'll be honest. If Real Sociedad get the win here, I think they're back into the European conversation of getting a Europa League spot. Even though I know they're in the Copa del Rey, so they can win that. Obviously, they've won it very recently, 2021. If I'm not mistaken. But yeah, I will be honest with you guys. Like, I think Villarreal can get a win here away at Real Sociedad. So I think this will be a high scoring. It's unfortunate it's Monday Night Football because I can't do it as a watch long. But I'm going with a 3-2 win, an away win for Villarreal. I think Villarreal can get the win here. And if they get a win, Villarreal, not only are they back in the top 4 race, but they will also be 8 points clear of the team that they might beat, which is Real Sociedad, who I think are the biggest threat of a Athletic Club, Villarreal, Mallorca, whoever, to get into that European places ahead of either of those teams. So for the sake of Villarreal, I think they will win. I think it'll be a 3-2 win. Defensively, not great, but I just feel like Sociedad might not have a good strength in this game at home in the Anoeta, the home of Real Sociedad in San Sebastián Donostia. So I'm going with a Villarreal win in this one. And yeah, that wraps up at least this sort of segment of the show. 43 minutes in, so pretty good timing here. There was only one game this past weekend in La Liga. Happened last Friday. Obviously, we discussed about Valencia and their shit situation. Real Madrid got a last-minute winner against Valencia at the La Mestalla. Obviously, the sort of history with these two clubs, especially nowadays, Valencia seems to be not that great. Usually it's Real Madrid that gets something in this game, but I'll be honest, right? In this game, I think Valencia really bottled it, which is why I said I think Valencia will get relegated, because games where Valencia should be winning, they draw. Games that Valencia should be drawing, they lose. And games that Valencia are losing, they will lose. So like Valencia just don't know how to see out a win. I mean, up until the 85th minute, basically, they were 1-0 ahead, and then they lost the game. And they even saved a penalty against Bellingham, but Bellingham came up clutch practically in the last minute. Even though, yes, Real Madrid had that red card on Vinny Jr., but I'll be honest, right? Even after that red card, I think Madrid were the better side. If you guys just want to look at the stats, 17 shots with 5 on target. So, of course, you expect Real Madrid to be the more dominant team, but Valencia did all right. 5 shots on target, but they just don't get the fucking goals. Like, they are really bad, Valencia. Real Madrid, not impressive, but they got the win. And this is a new segment of the show I would like to say to you guys. A new segment, part of the spirit of El Toro, which means the bull, right? The bull. Basically, it refers to who was the man of the weekend, basically the best player of the past weekend. And obviously, because there was only one La Liga game, it has to be a Real Madrid player. And even though he missed the penalty, he did come up clutch with a very crucial win to put Real Madrid, at least for now, back at the top of La Liga. The El Toro, or the bull, El Toro de la Semana, the bull of the week, is Jude Bellingham. He wins the first ever of this show's existence, the El Toro de la Semana, the ball of the week, the man of the week, with that late game-winning goal against Valencia, to put Real Madrid back at the top of La Liga. So he is the El Toro de la Semana, the ball of the week. Now, there is a slight point in this season. How about the Segunda Division, the second tier of Spanish football? I'm not really going to talk about each game or whatever. I'm just going to read out the results and then show you guys the league table. First of all, I want to give a shout out to Segunda Spanish, if I believe, on X, on Twitter. I believe they cover a lot of Segunda content on X. They have a podcast which I listen every now and then, get myself some updates on the Segunda. Obviously, Deportivo La Coruña in it. Jesus Christ. There's a reason why I don't do the Segunda show. But yeah, the matches this past week or so, there was only one, rescheduled one actually. Just a very quick zoom right here, over there. Tenerife got red card and lost 3-0 at home against Levante. So not a great result for Tenerife, who, believe it or not, are bottom of the Segunda. Levante are actually, if I'm not mistaken, in and around the playoffs right now. Let's look at the Segunda table, because it makes for interesting reading, right? Here we go. So just so you guys know, in the Segunda, the top two, first place and second place, get into La Liga next season automatically. Well, and then you have third, fourth, and fifth place, and sixth place. So third, fourth, fifth, sixth. So the next 4 teams from third to sixth go into a playoff, two-legged playoffs in both the semi-final and the final. And obviously, the team that wins the final of the playoff joins the top 2 in La Liga for next season. So, top of the Segunda, it is Almeria, which is not really a surprise. But I want to give you guys a surprising shout, a mention here. Racing Santander, in like a couple months ago, right? Like early November, or even like late November. Racing Club Santander, who are currently third, if I can show you guys, third place, Racing Club de Santander, they had an 11-point lead at the top. Yes, they were first place, Racing Santander, and they've lost, as you can see by the form, they lost 4 games in a row, winless in the last 5. They're basically bottling it. Racing Santander, they're basically bottling it, which is not great. It is really, 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 really not great from them. They haven't been in La Liga since, I believe, 2014, if I'm not mistaken. So it's been at least 11 years. But as I said, top of the Segunda is Almeria. I'll be honest, right? I think Almeria will get promoted after being relegated, and obviously they will be the next yo-yo club after Valladolid. I'm almost certain of it now. But here's a surprise. Menandez from the Basque Country. You know, the second place Menandez, they have never, ever, ever in the existence of Menandez, their history, they've never played La Liga football. They've never played in La Liga, which is mind-boggling considering where they are now in the table. It would be an incredible story if Menandez get into La Liga next season. I think they would be a fun team to watch. Defensively, very, very good. 15 goals conceded in 21. That's almost more than half of Almeria's goals they've conceded. So Menandez, you know, I know they beat Deportivo La Coruña just before the winter break, but look, I think it's deserved where Menandez are in the table. Joint with them, but bottling it is Racing Club Santander. I mean, I'm pretty sure, right? they'll probably not even make the playoffs now. But I think they might get that together. You have Elche in fourth. As I said, talking about Levante beating Tenerife, they got that win, puts them in the playoff position with Real Oviedo, who lost the playoff final last season to Espanyol. So we could have had Real Oviedo in La Liga this season, but we don't. And it's been about 20 something plus years since we had Oviedo in La Liga. So yeah, apart from Almeria, Elche, and Levante, look, if we get like at least one or even two of Menendez, Racing Santander, or Real Oviedo, it would be a nice welcome into La Liga, a sort of new-ish team, a team we haven't seen in the past 5 seasons in La Liga. I think that would be really interesting, especially Menendez, who have never played La Liga football. And then rounding up, because the Segunda has 22 teams, rounding off the top half of the table. In 7th, just behind, 2 points behind the playoff spots of Oviedo. In 7th, we have Huesca, and then Granada, who were relegated last season in last place. I mean, I'm pretty sure Granada gets promoted, they'll go back down. I'm certain. Sporting Gijon, actually, not Sporting Club. Sporting Gijon on 9th, Malaga, who actually came back from the Primera Ref, or the third tier of Spanish football, in 10th, but they are the draw merchants. Make 12 draws, but they last two games, 2 wins. And Real Zaragoza, I'll be honest, right? I know they're a big club. They are right now the definition of Segunda mediocrity. Like at one point they were okay, they're in an okay position, but now Real Zaragoza, they are fucking just going to be Segunda for like forever. It's like Nottingham Forest before they got promoted to the Premier League. That's what Zaragoza is at the moment. They are really, really mediocre in terms of really pushing for the playoffs. I don't think they make it, unfortunately. So it's going to be another season, I'll be honest. And then just above that sort of relegation battle, but in the lower half of the table, we have Castellón, who were promoted from the third tier, so Malaga, Castellón, and we'll get to the other two that got promoted. Castellón are in 12th, Eibor man, are in 13th. A bit meh this season from them. Cordoba, another team that got promoted from the third division, or the third tier, or the Primera Ref, as I say. They're in 14th. Not spectacular, but they're okay. You have Albacete in 15th. In 16th, you have Burgos, which I think is a bit, I would say, surprising. And obviously, my team, I know I'm not wearing the shirt right now, but Deportivo La Coruña, Jesus Christ, mates. We are almost similar to Valencia, whereby we should have more points than what we are. We should be a lot higher in the league. We even play a game fewer than everyone else in the Segunda. Deportivo, right, was 17th, with 2 places above the relegation zone, basically. We only gotten 6 wins all season in 20. We should have had at least 2, 3, or even 4 of those games be wins. Because Deportivo, games that we should have ended up winning, we draw. Games where we ended up getting draws, we lose. Games that we end up losing, we shouldn't really be losing. And that's the thing. We've lost to Burgos, Cordoba, but we smashed teams like by 5 goals. We beat Cadiz 4-2. We beat Albacete 5-1. We beat Castellón 5-1. Like, Jesus Christ. Deportivo, like, we can smash teams. We, like, of the bottom half, right? We have the best fucking goal difference, +2. And we're in a relegation battle somehow. It's crazy. We can smash teams, but we fucking can't do that every single game. So hopefully, knock on wood, Deportivo get the act together. Come on, Forza Depor. Super Depor will always be the biggest club in Galicia. And then rounding off just above the relegation zone, believe it or not, it's another club that got relegated from La Liga last season. It's Cadiz. Yeah, they are not in a great spot right now. just above the relegation zone, because the bottom 4 gets relegated from the Segunda. And in the relegation zone, we have Eldense, Racing Club de Ferrol, Football Club Cartagena, and Tenerife. I'll be honest, right? I think Eldense and Racing Ferrol, they still have a chance of potentially staying up. Hopefully not in the expense of Deportivo La Coruña. Please, por favor, please, just please. I think they have a chance. But in regards to Cartagena and Tenerife, I'll be honest, right? I think they are going to get relegated from the Segunda, just based on what I've seen so far from the Segunda, from both teams this season. I haven't watched all the games, but the highlights, they're just not that great. Both of those teams, Cartagena and Tenerife. So I think they will get relegated by the end of the season. So yeah, I think that's basically it for the show today, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, before we wrap up, I'll end the share screen here. Before we round up, people, as I said, we have the poll. We have 4 votes in, and I will end the poll right now. End poll. If it can give me the results, because the game I will be doing a live watch along for, I don't know if you guys can see it in the live chat. I'm trying to get it on. But the game that I'm doing a live watch along for this weekend is, let me actually get that game up so that you guys can see it. I know probably you guys can see in the live chat. But the game I am going to be doing a live watch along for will be let me maybe quickly share screen. Give me 1 minute. The game I'm doing a live watch along for, if it pops up, not like that, move it a bit here, is the crazy one, the big one for Valencia. I'm doing a live watch along. I'll set up the stream later. I'm doing a watch along on Saturday night at 9 o'clock Spanish time between Sevilla and Valencia. So that's the game you guys picked for me to do a live watch along for. Unfortunately, not Vallecano, but this is going to be a very crucial game. As I said, I think Sevilla will win. I think I said 2-0 or 2-1. No, I said 2-1 for Sevilla win. So yeah, I'm doing a live watch along. Saturday night, Sevilla versus Valencia. Huge game for, not really for Sevilla, but a huge one for Valencia if they really want to somehow survive this season. So yeah, I'll stop the share screen there. So yeah, that is it, guys, for the first ever show of El Toro, a La Liga show, whereby I talk about all of Spanish football practically. I guess we had a okay-ish turnout. Obviously, not a big channel yet, but hopefully, later on can do a lot more of these shows. Maybe bring on a guest to be on the show every single time. But yeah, as I said, big up to everyone. It's been a very good one. I think it's been a good show. Obviously, before we do, shout outs to The Alchemist and Brandon to being on the show, and obviously to all you guys that have voted in the poll. But yeah, I'm going to wrap it up here. As I said, please do hit the like button on the stream. Subscribe to the channel. Follow me on X on Twitter. And I'll see you guys in the next one, which will be the live watch along of Sevilla versus Valencia. Peace. Bye.